Hi everyone, I'm Nick from Coin and Paper, and today we're going to look at understanding your credit report. This is underneath the saver or the stage 1 of your financial journey. So understanding your credit report is very important because it can determine whether or not you get a loan for a home or a car or a school loan or even credit card. So many of you have probably experienced when you're just starting off, maybe in high school or in college at some point, or just at the beginning of your adult life, you probably tried to apply for a credit card and then you got rejected. And the reason you got rejected is because you didn't have a credit history. So that is your credit report. So we're going to break this down and understand your credit report a little bit more. So we're going to open up a spreadsheet so we can use this as our canvas and break it down starting right now. So first of all, there are 3 different credit bureaus. So the credit bureau is actually a company that collects this information related to your credit history. And so there's 3 of them, and the 3 are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So all of these collect information from lenders to produce a credit report, which then the lenders use to help determine whether or not they're going to let you borrow, and also if they do let you borrow, at what rate. So, or it helps them at least think about the rate. So their customers, that is a credit bureau, their customers are lenders. All right, and then you is the person that they're trying to understand if you're a risky borrower or a safe borrower. And so what the credit bureaus produce is a credit report. And in that credit report is what, again, the lenders use to help determine whether you're a safe borrower or not. Part of that credit report, as far as the full package, is also what is known as a credit score, but more precisely, it's a FICO score, which is like your credit score. And so FICO is a separate company that actually focuses on the credit score, but the credit reports, the credit bureaus, these different agencies, use that FICO score, and they make slight changes to it because they all have slightly different formulas or different focuses. So there might be different, you might have a different score, a slightly different score between the 3 different credit bureaus. All right, and FICO is just a name. It's an abbreviation of the company, not exact abbreviation, but the company that produces the FICO score is called Fair Isaac Co. But it's an independent company that produces the score. But again, these companies use it and slightly have changes to it because they focus all on a little bit different things. So it's always good to get the score from each, but they're generally more or less pretty close together. So as far as the credit report, we're going to break that down today, and there's 5 main factors that go into it, and specifically also your FICO score. So the 5 components that could affect your credit report and your FICO score is 1, the payment history. So let's just break this down. 5 components or main factors. 5 components or main factors that contribute to FICO score. And so one of them is your payment history. The other one is your debt or amounts owed. I want to change the formatting here. Another thing is age of credit history. Another one is new credit or inquiries. And the last one is mix of accounts, types of credit. And each of these are weighed differently to your FICO score. So some are weighed more than the others. So the highest weighted one is your payment history. So this is actually 35% of your credit score. So if I format this column to percentages, so 35% goes to your payment history. So that's very important. The next great one, our greatest in as far as weighting, is your debt amount owed. So 30% has to do with that. The next one is 15% for age of credit history, 10% for new credit cards, and 10 to 100%. So from here you can see that 35% is the top one, followed by 30, 15, and 10 and 10. So what is payment history? Payment history determines whether or not you can pay what you're obligated to pay each month on time, or pay it at all. So it's very important to pay your loans on time, and also just to pay them at all. So if you even have 1 month without paying your credit card or your loan on time, that could definitely take effect and hurt your credit score right away. Okay. The next one is debt amount. And by the way, with this one, I know that there's some credit cards out there now that have forgiveness or will let you slide on one, but I would say for as far as financial discipline, those are all nice as safety measures, but pretend that they don't exist and always pay on time. And there's different things out there like where you can set up with your credit card to have automatic payments where you can even pay the minimum or the full. So I definitely think you want to do those things to help make sure you pay on time. The next thing is debts amount owed. So this right here means how much from the amount of credit that you have available to you, how much of it is being used. So say you have, let's say here, available, and then used. So say if you have maybe $5,000 available to you, and we could break it down. So let's say you have a credit card, and then here you have a personal loan, and for your credit card you have a $2,500 limit, and your personal loan you also have a $2,500 limit. And so that means at any given time you have $5,000 available to you that you can use. Okay, so let's just say, and so right now this $5,000 is 100% of what you have available to you. And so let's just say you just got the personal loan and you use it right away. So as far as the lender, you owe them exactly $2,500. You haven't made one payment yet. And so that's $2,500 used. And then as far as a credit card, with the credit card we know you always have that amount, but then you can at any given month have it paid in full, so you have the full amount available. But let's say here you actually use the full amount. So with that said, if we look at the amount used, which is exactly equal to the amount that we have available, so this in relation to that is 100% used. So this right here would be not good, okay, for as far as the debt amounts owed. Because if it looks like you're maxed out, so this is pretty much maxed out, then it looks like you're under financial stress. On the contrary, if you paid off your credit card loan and you're half used, so that would improve your credit score in a month. And if this goes like that, then it definitely improve your credit score. So what you want to do is always have, as far as what you have available to what you use, you always want to have that ratio, a good attractive ratio. So you want to pay off your debt as often as you can, and especially with credit cards, you can pay that off in full every month. You want to do that. Not only does it help your credit score, but it also save you dollars in the long run because you won't have to pay interest on anything you pay off in the month you actually used it. So let's look at the next component. So 15% is age of credit history. So this is how long have you had credit. So this is like probably one of the main reasons why a lot of people are denied credit cards, especially the younger people or people who are just starting off. And that's because if you have no credit history, then it's very risky for the credit or the lender to let you borrow money since they don't know if you're able to pay it back. There's no history for them to look at. So in this case, if you're just starting off and you have no credit history, there are things out there for you to apply for. For example, credit cards that you can actually prepay. So like the prepaid credit cards. So you give them $500 and they might give you a credit limit of $500. And after a year, if you pay on time, then they'll give you the $500 back, and there you have credit history, plus you now have a $500 credit card. So how long have you had your credit history? That's an important factor as well. So if the longer you've had credit history, then the higher this will contribute to your overall FICO score. Next one here, 10%, is new credit inquiries. So new credit inquiries is how many times a month do you apply for credit cards. So actually every time you apply for a credit card, it could look unfavorably upon your credit score or your FICO score. So because every time you have an inquiry or every time you apply for a credit card, there's an inquiry. So basically a lender is inquiring with the credit bureau about your credit history. So this can look like you're trying to apply for too much. So this is not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes it's necessary, and so this is a temporary thing, but in general, you don't want to have too many inquiries. You don't want to apply for too many credit cards because that's not good for your credit history. So you just want to limit the credit to what you need. Then the last one here is mix of account types of credit. So in our example here where we took a look at what kind of credit we may have, we have a credit card and a personal loan. So there's actually two types of credit that you can have. One of them is installment types of credit, and the other one is revolving. And revolving would be the credit card, and the installment would be a personal loan, like a mortgage or a car loan. So with installment, you right at the beginning, someone lets you borrow $5,000, we'll say. So they give you a $5,000 check, and you can use that right away. So automatically, you owe them $5,000. And then you have a specified term, say 5 years, to pay that back at a fixed or variable interest rate. With revolving, this one is different. So this is a credit card. So this one, they'll give you a credit limit, and you don't have to use it. So they won't give you a check, they'll give you a credit limit, and you can use that each month, and there is no closure date. So it's always open unless you close the account. So if you want to use some of it today, you can use some of it, pay it off, and the next month not use it, and it'll still always be there for you. With installment, once you finish paying off the loan, it's closed automatically. So these are the two types of loan. So having history in both of these helps your credit history or credit score. And so these are the main components, the 5 components that contribute to your FICO score. Now as far as the score itself, so generally the scaling goes between, I believe the lowest is 350 or so, might be a little bit higher than that, but generally let's just say the range is from 300 to 850. And so the higher your score, the better history you have, and so the overall more attractive you are to lenders. Where the lower it is, then the more risky you are to lenders. So if it's very low, you could possibly get denied for a loan. Where if you get a higher credit score, you could be guaranteed that you're going to get that loan. And so not only does your credit score affect whether or not you get the loan or not, but it could also affect the interest rate that you get. So for example, if you're a great person as far as you have a great history, then since you're safer to the bank or the lender, then they're more likely to give you a loan. So, and since they want your business, they might charge you a lower interest rate. Whereas if you are risky to them, in order for them to be compensated for the risk or for it to be attractive to make business sense for them to let you borrow money, period, they might charge you a higher interest rate to cover for that risk, for the likelihood that you may not pay. So a higher credit score could mean that you get the loan that you're looking for, and also that you get a low rate. And a lower, so I'm going to say lower and higher could mean get credit. Here you could be denied credit, and better interest rate, and worse interest rate. So let's say higher interest rate, which is worse. So it actually costs you more money in the long run to have bad credit. All right, so these are the 5 components here of your credit score and credit history, and you can get your credit score from these institutions or your credit report, and by law they're required to give you one free report. I believe it's every year. So if you haven't gotten one recently, you can go to any of these credit bureaus, or there's a website out there, I think it's freecreditreport.com, where you can request free credit report. And I'm pretty sure that if you want the credit score, you're going to have to pay for that separately. But each one of these also have monthly memberships, so it may be worth taking a look at those, at least for a free trial anyways, to see if how much information you can get. But like I said, it's always, since you have the privilege to get one free credit report a year, I highly recommend that, and it's very interesting to see what your credit history looks like. So if you have any questions on credit reports, feel free to let me know. But again, this is really important because it determines, 1, if you can get a loan or not, and 2, what type of interest rate you get. So knowing these components helps you to be disciplined in these areas to make sure you have a very good credit report and credit score. Thank you.